Mate, come on. Oh, too good, mate.
Thank
Too
you.
good. Welcome to the podcast, Khabeer Lateef, the arm wrestle.
Thanks for having me, Ross.
Take me back to how you actually got to Australia as a 10-year-old. Your father sadly was,
Passed away at the age of 10 back in 1980. So basically, Afghanistan was going through Cold War between Russia and America. So unfortunately, I lost my dad, and the only good news was that when my dad was alive, he had sent my brother overseas, and somehow my brother ended up in Brisbane. So after back in 1979, he got here, and then when my father got killed in 1980, he said, guys, get out of the country, get to India. There's Australian High Commission there. I can actually go. At the time, he used to live at Clayfield, and his
your brother was living in Clayfield?
Yeah, and his member of parliament was Don Lane. And he went to Don Lane and told him about the situation of his family, and Don Lane gave him a permanent residency. So then he said, guys, if you can get to India, there's Australian High Commission, I can send you guys a family reunion.
How far from India to Afghanistan, just flying?
Well, at the time, because the country was going through turmoil and war, we couldn't actually fly.
Oh, wow.
So we had to it was me, my brother, and two sisters, and we had to actually pay smugglers money to take us across. So the smugglers the journey started from Kabul. We paid smugglers money. It took us 7 days. We were sleeping in the holes during the day, and then at night time.
Sleeping in the what, sorry?
Sleeping in the holes, like as in mountains,
How many people were they smuggling at a time?
Well, at the time, it was just me and my family. So it was about 4 of us. And so we went through the mountains.
So how many smugglers? Because
I think there would be about 3 or 4.
3 or 4 smugglers for each person?
Because we were on top of horses and mules. And basically, it took us about 7 days to get from Afghanistan into Pakistan. And then when we got to Pakistan, it was a very dangerous place. And then we stayed in like different cities, Peshawar, Islamabad, Karachi, Lahore. And then at the time, there was problems between India and Pakistan. So you couldn't really fly from Pakistan into India.
Karachi, the capital city of Pakistan?
No, Islamabad is.
Okay.
So anyway, we found smugglers to take us from Pakistan into India.
Yeah, wow.
So we went through Lahore.
Separate smugglers.
We went through the fields from Punjab, Lahore into Punjab, India. We got caught by the police. But bribery is big in India, so we.
How much cash did your mum have in her pockets at this time? She must have
enough to get us here safely, because we ended up staying in India for a few years, and then finally our family reunion visas got accepted, and we ended up in Brisbane.
Well, so
reunited with my brother.
You make that sound like it was an easy thing, but so you got...
At the time, it was very hard.
Oh.
I mean, it was good. I dealt with it well.
So Pakistan to India, how long did you stay in India for before you came to Brisbane?
In India, I stayed about 2 years, 2.5 years.
No, at the time when you were...
We were 9 months in Pakistan and about 2.5 years in India.
Before coming to Australia, Brisbane?
Yes.
Wow. Were you trying to get to Brisbane the whole time?
Yes.
It took that long?
Yeah. And my brother was doing like 3 jobs, and, because the money we had, it was enough to get us from, Afghanistan into Pakistan, and then from Pakistan into India. And then my brother here was working like 3 jobs, sending us money every month.
Just to survive over there?
Just survive to get here. So
what were the living arrangements like in India at the time?
It was good. It was, I was, 12, 13 years old. I was living in his apartments, and in front of the apartment was a park, and every weekend there was a wedding. So we used to just crash, me and a few guys used to crash the wedding. We were wedding crashers.
How old were you then?
13.
13, you're crashing weddings in India while you're trying to flee Afghanistan and get into Australia.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So when we got to Brisbane, my brother was living at Kangaroo Point. He picked us up from the airport, and I remember we were driving over Story Bridge, and I looked at the city. There was probably 1 or 2 high rises.
That's it.
Back then in 1986.
And then you got to Brisbane.
Yeah, and I've seen Brisbane grow, basically.
But going back to, you landed in Brisbane, and you went straight to Clayfield to see your brother.
No, at that time he was living in Kangaroo Point.
Oh, Kangaroo Point. Sorry, yeah,
I remember
yeah.
it because it was Bell Street, Kangaroo Point.
How did you feel when you arrived there?
Well, it was kind of different. It was very quiet compared to India.
Yes,
or all the
but
other
a
countries
sense of
I've been.
relief. Do you
Sense
remember?
of relief.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I found Brisbane very quiet. It was very quiet.
Yeah, very safe as well, though.
Very
as well.
safe,
Yeah.
Very safe. Yeah.
And then you obviously went and studied. And what did your mother do when she came here?
Well, unfortunately, my mum stayed back. So my mum, because my grandmother was sick, so she didn't want to come, so she stayed back. And
in India?
no, in Afghanistan.
Oh, she didn't make the.
No, we didn't. So it was just me, my brothers and sisters left, and then she stayed back, and then we reunited with her back in 1990. So about 8 years later.
In Brisbane?
In Brisbane.
Wow. So
she lives here. She's still here now. She's about 91.
Who was looking after you in your early teens?
We were looking basically after each other.
And your older brother.
Sisters,
How old was your older brother when you arrived at 13?
He was 27.
Oh, wow. So he was a little bit older.
When I left here at 27, but when I came to Australia, I was 16. He was 30.
Unbelievable. And is your brother still around now?
Yes, he is. He's 68 and he lives in Western Australia with his 4 beautiful children.
Wow. Do you ever catch up with them?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Actually,
you've been
went
to
there
WA?
last year for my niece's wedding.
Yeah. It's amazing. It makes most of Aussie's story. I mean, my granddad came across as a 16-year-old from England, one of, I think, 11 or 12 kids by himself.
Yeah.
At 16, obviously it was a lot safer to get here, but it's amazing being in Australia and listening to all these different stories of how people got here.
I was actually one of the lucky ones. I mean, there's so many people, unfortunately died and killed. I was, lucky to, that I had good family that,
had some money as well. Yeah.
We could get out. Yeah.
And what about the rest of your family?
So the rest, I'm the youngest of 7 children. There is 4 boys and 3 girls, and I've got about 18 nieces and nephews, and they're all born in Brisbane. They range from 35 to 13, and I've got a mix of doctors, engineers, chemists. They're pretty smart.
You got some.
My family tried to work hard to make sure that the next generation is, education was very important in my family.
Do you talk to your niece and nephews and cousins and things?
Yes, yeah.
And what about back? Do you have any family back in Afghanistan still?
No. Most of my family's in Germany, Denmark, Canada, 4 cities in the US, Poland, Moscow, and England.
Everywhere. Have you ever had a big family reunion?
Maybe about 20 years ago. But once you get into that lifestyle of work,
how do you catch up with it? How do you know where everyone's living?
Through Instagram, Facebook,
TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the beautiful thing about social media.
Yeah, social media. Thanks for social media.
You were showing me a card at the cafe. You said you were Mr. Brisbane in 1997.
I was Mr. May.
Mr. May.
For Bris Vegas Serious postcards.
There you go, mate. It's a pretty serious photo. I had a lot more hair back then, but geez, you're looking good today. Thanks for dressing up and coming aboard.
Thank you.
So Khabeer and I have known each other for circa 10 years. He's worked downstairs and run the cafe.
With 2 different owners, basically.
Two different owners. Who was the first one?
5 years for Vincenzo. And then the last 7 years for Scott
Thomas.
Thomas.
Now called Mojo's.
The Mojo Cafe.
So
since
it's a cafe,
2017.
It's a cafe within the Newmarket precinct. And mate, even since I've known you and you working there, I've seen it change. It's become very hard for owners and staff, hasn't it?
Yes, it is because of this pandemic and the interest rate rises this year, last year. The coffee sales are still good, but trying to sell food. I mean, food is good, but it's up and down. Whereas before the pandemic, it was very busy and very consistent.
Food was a lot cheaper, I'd imagine, as well.
Oh, well, we didn't really put our prices up that much.
No, but
the cost of buying goods has gone up. Cost of labor has gone up many times in the last couple of years. So we're trying our best. So since we've got you upstairs and
Yeah,
you're supporting us.
we try our
then
best.
we're
Makes the
still
best.
surviving.
Yeah, double shot piccolo with these little special
That's right,
ingredient he
and
puts in
I
there.
get a lot of business out of Place Real Estate upstairs.
Yeah, which is good.
Matthew and
Yes,
all the boys.
all the team.
Yeah, all the team.
And the ladies. So,
And the ladies,
So
yeah.
let's rewind it back to you came to Australia from Afghanistan at 16.
Yes, and I studied English for about a year, went to Brisbane State High, got my junior certificate and then senior certificate, and then I tried to do associate diploma in business management.
So were you talking much English at the time when you came to
Oh no,
Australia?
the first language that I ever learned back home was French.
Oh, French, wow.
Bonjour, comment
Yeah.
ça va?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that was the
no
first
idea,
language,
sorry.
and I used to speak a lot more. And then when I started learning English, my French kind of, but I still get by.
Yes. So how many languages can you talk now?
Well, I lived in India for about 5 years, so I speak Hindi. Yeah, and my mother language is Persian, which is Farsi,
Yes.
and learned English. I worked with Italians for about 30 years.
Well, I
so
lost
speak
count
a
at
bit of
6
Italian.
there. So how many are we talking about?
Four.
Four. There you go. 4 languages.
4 languages.
More than meets the eye.
That's right.
So yeah, you came here at 16. You went to Brisbane State High.
Yeah, finished.
What was it like from the age of sort of 1 to 16 back in Afghanistan?
Before that,
Yeah, well, before you moved to Australia.
yeah. Oh, I mean, it was different coming from a different society to, Western society. It took me a few years, but I kind of assimilated with the crowd, with the Aussie crowd.
Yes.
Started going out, drinking.
And you must have been living close to Brisbane State High to get into that school?
I was living at Gladstone Road.
Oh,
which
wow, there you
just
go. Is
5
that Highgate
minutes
Hill?
walk. Highgate Hill.
Highgate
that's
Hill, there you
correct,
go,
yes.
yeah.
You know your suburbs.
I do know my suburbs, mate. Well, Brisbane State High, my mother actually went there as well.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so
So did Wally Lewis.
Wally Lewis,
So
yeah,
did
it's
Hayley Lewis.
it's very
Duncan Armstrong.
a very sporty school, also music, and you've got to be in that catchment. So
I did rowing for 4 years.
you did rowing as well.
Yeah, I tried rugby, but they killed me. So
There you
I couldn't
go.
do it. Said I'm not doing that anymore.
So we go back to, so you've moved to Australia, you're at State High. What job did you transition to from?
Well, straight away when I came to Australia, I always had a weekend job. I was working at the Sun Building in the Valley on Brunswick Street.
Yes, yes.
I was working there Friday, Saturday nights. They used to call it inserting, which we used to put the advertising, real estate advertising,
Yes.
advertising into the Sunday Sun. And then we did that from, say, 11 at night till 5 in the morning.
Yeah, right.
I did that for a while, and then I got a job at a restaurant, washing dishes and stuff. But my big break came at La Dolce Vita in Park Road, Milton in 1991.
Yeah, right.
Which after 6 months of working there, I became supervisor. So then I ended up staying.
Well, that was we were discussing off air prior to the show.
Yes, because back in those days, there wasn't much cafe scene or restaurants in Brisbane. There was a few pockets, but nothing in the suburbs. It was only Park Road, where they used to call it a gentleman called by the name of James Penny.
Is it a big Italian community or?
Yeah, well, when the Italians opened a cafe there called La Dolce Vita, pretty much all the Italians, we used to have the Greeks, the Lebanese, mix of everything.
And that's where they had all the fast cars too, wasn't
Fast cars, Ferrari days, all that.
Yeah.
So I ended up staying there for about 20 years.
it? Same owner throughout the whole time?
Same owner the whole time. And then 2009, I went in partnership with one of the kids and we opened La Dolce Vita in Caloundra. I was there 5 years. And then 12 years in Newmarket.
Yeah, right. So Caloundra, because was that on the Bullcock Beach there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bullcock Beach, actually underneath Rumba Resort.
That would have been pretty quiet back then compared to how it is now.
Now, it was all right. It was holiday times. It was really busy, but winter was quiet. So the money you made in
Inconsistent.
summertime, you had to spend it so you can survive in winter.
A beautiful lifestyle
Beautiful,
up there.
yeah,
And
beautiful
my
place.
Shelley Beach, my uncle had a place there we stayed at quite regularly.
Did you know that Caloundra in Aboriginal means beautiful place?
No, I didn't, but
Well,
there you
there
go.
you go.
So, but I love it up the coast. It's nice and quiet there compared to. I know you love Surfers Paradise.
Oh, no, I actually love Noosa.
Oh, Noosa.
It was the love for Noosa that I ended up in Caloundra because I couldn't get anything up there.
Get anything there, yeah. So, but you also love to frequent down the coast as well.
That's right, yeah. I like sunbathing.
So I've always been fascinated by the sunbathing. I've always been fascinated by the cafes and the restaurants because 10, 20, 30 years ago, you could actually build a restaurant cafe up and you could sell it for quite a good profit, couldn't you?
Yes, but now the margins are very low.
Yeah, now it's very tricky. I mean, even the restaurants now, like you can't book in. You used to not be able to book into these really nice, expensive places 2-3 months in advance.
But now it's changed.
You can be there on a Wednesday and book it at 7:30, which is a bit of a worry. But did you ever build a cafe up and sell it for a profit?
I didn't know. Actually, I haven't gone to that stage yet.
Yeah, because
I'm still working on
you're still working on it. Yeah. Oh, there's always time. There's always time. But you must have seen people.
Yes, I have.
Do that.
I've seen many people. Usually, they say a cafe life is about 2-3 years. So you start, you build it up, and then you sell it. You make some money and start again.
You do it again. Yeah.
That's the smart way of doing it.
Yeah. No, good call. And so back in those Park Road sort of days, how has Brisbane changed and evolved?
I mean, really evolved after 2003 boom, I think. After 2003, I mean, the first boom was after 1988, the Expo.
Yes.
That Brisbane, when I first came in 86, population was 480,000 in Brisbane.
But from a cultural background, like that.
Yeah. Well, that slowly, many migrants came, people from Sydney, Melbourne came with different, restaurant culture and stuff. So then pretty much after 2003, late 2000, the cafe scene and the nightlife in Brisbane got a lot better.
And you're saying before that you frequented down to King's Cross and those sort of places in Sydney. Was that for an experience?
Me and my friends back in the days, I mean, there wasn't much places to party in Brisbane. So when I was young, we used to go once every 2 months to Sydney.
Did you ever go, interstate or overseas looking for inspiration for the cafes or the restaurants?
Yeah, I did. I did back in 98. I did.
Where did you go?
I went to Italy. I went to Germany. Went to the States. I've got family all over the world pretty much, so I wanted to visit them and then visited their cafe restaurant scene.
Yeah.
A bit different than Brisbane.
And it's always, whenever I've gone down there and you'll be playing your music at Mojo's.
I try to create atmosphere, which many people don't understand, because when people come, they not only enjoy a good cup of coffee, a good breakfast or lunch, but also the ambience is very important. The ambience of... Do you know what I mean?
The ambience
music makes a lot of difference. Not many people understand. And I kind of, know when to play what music to create atmosphere.
It is. And I can see when you're having a bad day because you're not as happy, but your bad day compared to most people, that's what we love about you. You hype everyone up. And
I try to bring energy into the
place. Energy, and you remember everyone's name. And you'd be surprised. You remembering someone's name and remembering their order makes them feel good.
Well,
and you
I'm actually not so good with names, but I know what coffee they drink. I remember them from...
You tell me which names you know, mate. So you're good at hiding which names. But the coffee order's the same as... But you probably called someone Michael and the name's Matthew, but that's all right. Yeah. And what's the most popular coffee these days you make?
Pretty much cappuccino. Cappuccino, flat white... those two are the most popular, but now it's the alternative milk is very popular now.
What's the alternative milk that's popular?
We're talking about oat milk, almond milk, soya milk, lactose free. Back in the day when I first started in hospitality, it was only one milk, normal milk.
Full cream, normal milk, yeah. And what about the sugar? People still having sugar or?
Some people are having sugar. Some people are watching their calories. So that's why they're having their low calorie alternative milks.
Yeah. It's just amazing and they'll have a low calorie milk with a donut.
That's right. I try to push the donuts once a week only, Fridays.
Once a week he says, donuts, get your donuts.
Fridays, yeah.
It's pretty hard when it's they're very fresh and Khabeer's trying to push one of those down your throat. So the family, Khabeer, you've got now 3 kids.
3 beautiful kids. I've got twins, Sophia and Isaac. They're 19. And then I've got a beautiful 8-year-old Giselle.
And the older children, they grew up locally, or was that...
They grew up here. They're born here in Brisbane.
And where did they go to school at?
They went actually to Aspley.
Aspley, school.
Right. And then from Aspley, they moved to Corinda.
Corinda, yeah.
They finished their... senior school at Corinda, and now my daughter is working as a receptionist. She worked 4 years with me at the cafe, but now she works at PA at a finance company.
There you go.
And my son does clinical exercise.
You're very proud of your kids. So,
yes, absolutely.
And you've looked after
them. And my 8-year-old's in grade 3.
She's a character, isn't she?
Yeah.
And where you're living now, I know you like to go to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
What suburb are you living in now?
I'm living at Homeview. We actually built a house there in 2019. I like it because I'm halfway between Brisbane and Gold Coast. So 30 minutes I could be in Pacific Fair, 30 minutes in Brisbane.
Well, it's hard. It's all about affordability now.
Yeah,
and,
that's why I went that far.
It's tricky, and you did well to build because not many people...
I was lucky to build, in 2019. Because if I build the same house now, it'd be like double.
Problem is, you go and sell it, and you've got to go and rebuy in the same market again anyway.
But I love where I'm living now. So
it's a good spot. And you're settled there, and you got your daughter that's obviously going to school.
Yeah,
and the wife travels into the city for work.
No, she actually works at Suncorp at Loganholme.
Oh, so Suncorp Loganholme.
Close over.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, cool. So, Khabeer, you've got many stories. What story stands out for you? Back in the day, Park Road in Milton, back in the early 90s or mid 90s?
Early 90s. Well, I was there 20 years, so I got many stories.
You must have. That used to be the place to go to for the World Cup, the soccer.
Yeah, well, during World Cup, European Cup, we used to open 24 hours.
24 hours, yeah.
24 hours.
I reckon I went there when I was about 20 for a World Cup game, and it's pretty exciting. It was early in the morning. It was still open, so it used to be one of those places to go to.
That's right.
What's happening on that Park Road precinct now?
I think Park Road at its time. So now it's because you have so many choices in Brisbane, and it's very hard. They didn't do much about parking there. Parking is a big problem.
Parking's hard, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it had its time. So
no parking Ferraris.
No.
Yeah. So where do you see? Obviously, you've been in the industry forever. Where do you see the next 5 years? It's going to be pretty tough for a cafe or a restaurateur.
Well, I tried my best to still stick in Newmarket. So see how we go. I think things can, maybe this year, maybe a little bit hard next year, but then things can only get better.
I think so as well. And when
because
that cost
we're going
of living
towards the Olympics, so more people are moving into Brisbane, and we're in a good location. So
we're in a good location there, but for the rest of the
traffic is pretty good.
For the rest of the climate, whether you're here or Hawthorn, what do you see for the next 5 years in that cafe hospitality industry? Do you think it's going to be hard?
I think it's going to be very hard for small businesses. I think it seems like that, I don't know, even the government is trying major organizations to own everything. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, you yourself, when you're at the family, I know you said your favourite place and the kids love to go to Beccafino's
I love
at New Farm, which is not far from here.
That's my favourite Italian restaurant.
Well, it's always busy.
2003, yes.
It's always busy, but that if you provide good food, you provide good service, you're always going to be busy.
I think if you are a good owner-operator and you provide good food, good service, and it's consistent, it will work. You'll succeed.
Is it hard with obviously consistency, staff, chefs, and that sort of thing?
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm lucky. I'm somehow lucky. I always have good staff. I never had. I suppose since I've been working in the industry for 32 years.
You know how to treat the staff as well.
How to keep them.
Well, you see a lot of these young kids there, and I watch people. I'm in customer service myself, and I watch these kids, and either they've got it or they don't. But I think you being there, and teaching them how to make someone laugh. They laugh and they feed off your energy.
You've got to bring energy, and maybe because from old school, from the old days, I can bring that, and I try to actually, as you can see that I always hire local girls from local families that I know. I never advertise for staff. I always, try to get girls that I've got their friend, or if they keep going, they start with me being a uni student, they finish their uni, then they move on when they get a job. Yes. And that circle keeps going. So that's what I do. I just try to look after the local people in Newmarket, and Ashgrove, Wilson,
you got to look after locals because they have friends and family that come in as well.
That's how I get my staff pretty much.
And the music you play there,
Yes.
what genre is that?
I try to play a bit of Gypsy Kings,
Yes.
a bit of opera, early in the morning, opera in the morning.
The opera. I love it when we come in and you're singing the opera. How many coffees have you had then?
Oh, probably about 4 shots. 4 shots.
Yeah.
I try to play some Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra.
And you do a lot of research on TikTok because one day you're a nutritionist, the next day you come in, you're a personal trainer, you've lost 6 kilos, you've put on 6 kilos, you're a bodybuilder, the next day you're a doctor. Is that how you do your study?
That's how I get all my information from TikTok and Instagram, mate.
It's amazing. You're giving me life advice. One week you told me, Ross, if you eat a kiwi fruit every day, you'll be a good man.
If you eat 2 kiwi fruits a day, it's got more vitamin C than an orange.
There you go.
And you'll never get sick.
Oh, that's a big call, mate. I did try it for about 2 days. And
Did you try? You didn't like it?
No, I didn't like it. But you're always on a juice detox or whatnot.
I try. I've been on so many diets.
You've been on. It's hard.
You can ask my staff.
It's hard as you get older. But
I know. Once you're over 50, it's very hard.
Oh, once you're over 30, like I am, it's very hard as well. But with regards to the coffee, like I'm fascinated by coffee. I love coffee. I love to go and try different coffee shops. So many of them muck my order up. It's a double shot piccolo in a small cup, which is more than a piccolo.
So your coffee is it's called a long macchiato, which is automatically double shot with a dash of milk or froth, a little bit.
Yes. When you do that little froth thing, it's unbelievable.
Creamy froth.
Yeah, creamy froth, yeah. How come so many get it wrong?
I don't know. Maybe you should order a long macchiato next time.
Is that a double long macchiato?
It's automatically double shot.
Yeah. See, coffee's become such a...
And in Melbourne, they call long macchiato magic.
Magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's a bit easier to order. I'll just order a magic. Or a double magic.
If you order magic, it is automatically double shot.
There you go.
And that's popular in Melbourne. So if you go in a cafe in Melbourne, you order a magic.
Well, I'll be going down there again soon, so I'll order a magic. But the beauty of coffee is, a lot of people don't drink alcohol, but they love going out for coffees for the social scene. I mean, I see people at that cafe that go to the cafe, and I don't think they have any plans to meet someone.
Yeah.
But they meet, it might be a semi-retired person down
That's
there,
right.
and they like the scene.
I've got a few of those. I've got a few of them just come in and they've met other semi-retireds.
Yeah.
They hang out. They're pretty much...
It's great. They don't want to go to the pub and do that because a lot of people go to the pub and they have a beer and...
No, they come and read the paper. They have a coffee. They have a chat. They pretty much do it every day.
It's beautiful. And you see them there having a carrot cake and a coffee and...
Yeah.
That's their way to socialise, and that's what, coffee and cafes, it brings people together without having to go to the pub and have a beer or a cigarette or whatever
Especially
these people
days, everybody's conscious of their, calories, weight and all that. So I think alcohol drink has become less.
Yeah, it's probably also conscious of the pennies from the...
That's right.
It's getting expensive as well, whereas coffee's in certain places. Your coffee there hasn't gone up much in price, has it?
But I should put it up soon.
You should put it up. I won't be coming back. I'll go to the one up the road, mate. So food. Tell me the food.
I think for you, I'll keep it at the same price.
So you got Beccafino's as your favourite pasta. You're a seafood man.
My Italian food, best. Actually, the seafood place, the fish and chip shop at Gasworks is very good.
Yes, I've been. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I go.
What about down the Gold Coast when you go down the Gold Coast?
Down the Gold Coast, I go to Gemelli's at Broadbeach.
Oh, Gemelli's, yeah. There's a Gemelli's at New Farm as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been going to Gemelli's down the Gold Coast since they opened. It's been like 7-8 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And so going back to your sort of childhood, and if you don't mind me asking, in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
What was that like growing up? Like, did you have normal skills?
Well, it was totally different. Yeah, different lifestyle. I was lucky to be born in a good family.
Like a middle class or?
Well, they're quite wealthy.
Quite wealthy,
family. I was lucky. And I was lucky to, if it wasn't for my family, probably wouldn't be able to be here. Because so many people died. So
yeah. And like if you had a classroom there, like, you're in a local classroom, 30 kids, 40 kids.
Actually, back at the time when I went to one of the famous schools in Kabul, and they basically was built by the French.
Yeah, right.
So it was really good. We had like heaters in winter because, Afghanistan snows.
Yes.
So, and it was unbelievable. I haven't seen that kind of school here.
So winter over in Afghanistan, snows, it's
Yeah,
freezing.
it's like 4 seasons, basically.
4 seasons, yeah.
So you got snow, you got summer.
And the summer's very hot.
I'll probably get up to 40 degrees.
And they've got a beautiful mountains and...
But I haven't been back there since 1982, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
So that part of your life, it is what it is, but you've sort of pushed it to the side. You've got a new life
pretty
here in
much like
Australia.
an Aussie, mate.
Yes. You are, mate. You are,
almost
mate.
40 years I've been here.
Yeah, almost 40 years, yeah. But it's good to remember where you come from, though,
That's
as well.
right.
And another reason why I wanted to have you on board is, your passion for, you wanted to be on the podcast, but you love being in Australia. When you're talking about Australia and Brisbane.
Well, actually, I've traveled, as I said, I went overseas, many countries, but I was like, mate, Australia is the best.
Australia is, it is the best. And I think people...
Sometimes we take things for granted, but we have a good life here.
Well, we had a team event with Rupert McCall, who does the poetry.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. He just kept talking about how lucky we are to be in this country, and we are.
Yeah.
We complain about the most minute issues, and there's people overseas, what's happening to them.
Major issues.
We're very lucky, and even being in Brisbane, it's a beautiful place. So
that's right.
Anywhere where you can reside in this country is key. So yeah. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast today, Khabeer. It's amazing your story, and I don't think you give yourself enough credit. But for myself, I love seeing you down at the coffee shop. You make everyone happy. You make everyone smile. So keep that up. You've got an amazing story to tell. You instill good values with your children, and it's really been a pleasure to have you on board, and looking forward to spending more time with you in the future.
Yes, thank you very much, Ross, for having me in your podcast. Also, if my story becomes a movie, I'll make sure you play a part.
Yeah, well, we've got Billy here, who's Billy's ready to roll. So thank you, Khabeer.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.